Having the 63, doubt or after completion, to being in your sun or your core essence, will give you one of these three incarnation crosses, which equals our purpose or life work theme. We have consciousness, doubts, and dominion. So the right angle cross of consciousness, as we have been moving through the quarter of initiation, what is important to recognize is that this is the first time that we move into a gate or a quality that is in the head center or the inspiration center. And remember, 13 until 24, this is all about consciousness and the mind. So now we've established that we are here to witness and listen. We are here to have our needs, our sexual needs, our spiritual needs, our community and family needs. Those are all things that need to happen on this mental illusion. And now what is important is that we begin to ask questions. Why? Why? That's what the 63 really, that's its superpower, is it's asking the questions so that the formulation of the answer can be created. So this is the great gate of suspicion. In order for society to survive, we must have reliable patterns that we can actually work with, that we can know, and that we can feel secure with. Without those reliable patterns, civilization and society break down. Now, that's what the logical stream, that's what the logical side of the body graph, that's the whole point of it, is it's about survival, it's about moving us vitally into the future, and we need to have patterns. That's why we have the Fibonacci code. That is why we have the Pythagorean theory. That's why we have these things and we can see them and recognize these patterns, because we need those patterns so that we can build an experience on top of those patterns. So what happens here is that we're really at the beginning stages of being able to codify those patterns. And that's really what our mind is built for. It is built to decode, to be able to recognize how we are collapsing the quantum. That's the whole point of consciousness. So as you can see that there's a 63, 64, 5, and 37 in the right angle cross of consciousness. And we are establishing these patterns of the 5 because we want to be able to come to a completion of a process. And that completion of a process indicates to us, were the expectations fulfilled or not in the 35? So confusion is always looking at the past, that's 64. But here's what's important, is that we are paying attention to the 63 and that suspicion that really becomes a place of our purpose. The 64 is constantly looking in the past. The 63 is looking at the future. This is the stimulation. This is the beginning of our stimulation of how the mental plane works. What's important is to recognize that the mind has no authority. That is one of the points that the human design system teaches us, and I utilize that when we're walking through the purpose-driven wealth formula, because it is so incredibly important. Once we can declutter our minds, then the mental realization that is taking place, us being able to perceive, there's clarity there. And we can have this consciousness in a whole new way. So how is wealth created here? Well, wealth is created here based off of being suspicious over those patterns and being able to ask those correct questions. This is what initiation really does. What it does is it focuses us in on the questions so that we can come to our own answers internally. So that this is the beginning process of how we organize the world mentally. And there's a pressure here to do so. So these people, they'll notice that they are under enormous amounts of mental pressure to work things out. One of the things that we talk about lots in human design is no mind, no mind, no mind. Spirituality says no mind. Well, what we want to do in human design is we want to shift that no mind to relieving the mind as decision maker so that it is clear, so that it can be like an antenna for all of our answers. So having this as your core essence, as your sun, as your purpose, it really is about being suspicious of the patterns and asking the right questions so that humanity can come through an experience and be able to come to a realization of it. So what I see here, wealth building, this could be journalists or great spiritual contemplators that write these books that allow us to go deep into ourselves and recognize that there is nothing outside of ourselves. It's all internal, as that the answers come internally. And once we can clear up the mind, our antenna to our higher knowing, our higher source is clear and crisp. Now, when we get to the left angle or the juxtaposition of doubts, we all of a sudden move into this. These are the people that really have doubts. So no, it won't work. It can't work. You can't do this. It's really not going to work. There's this constant doubt. But we need these people so that on the material plane, we can begin to recognize what is it that we have? What is it that we don't have? What is it that we require from our memory bank so that we can be conscious? So these are the great doubters. Now, when we go over to the left angle cross of dominion, this is really about, honestly, it's about power and taking power. The mind gives you a chance to take power. People can have great vanity. They may be very beautiful, but it is all about the mental plane for this particular incarnation cross and purpose. So it's about taking that power when others are weak mentally. Now, don't look at that as being mean or underhanded. It just is what it is. That's what you're designed to do. You're designed to take advantage of those that are not as witty on the mental plane, because you are coming in on this initiation of the mind, this consciousness aspect. And what it is that you're going to be able to take power. But what's important to understand is that this is karmic. This is transpersonal. So whomever you're taking power from, this has been a journey with them through lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. They're ready for it. They were just waiting for you to take back that power that is designed to be within you. So witty and smart, that's what happens here. So survival of the fittest. And how do you make money here? Well, you're going to make a lot of money based off of your wittiness, your mentality, your ability to recognize and pinpoint the weakness of someone else's mind on the mental plane and help them with that. So that opens up so many different opportunities. So now it's just about playing with those opportunities and recognizing your wit and your smarts and how to take back the power based off of the doubts that other people have and based off of the consciousness field. Okay, we will go over this stuff in our coaching calls. Have fun playing around.